So, hello.
Hi.
Hello. I knew the nonchalant hi was coming from you. You tend to do that when I do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had a few thoughts. I've been talking it over with Ian, and we thought we could do a little discussion about it. There's a saying has run through my head and just kind of stayed in there for a while. It came from the Star Wars sequels ever since the Disney buyout. That kind of encapsulated what kind of happened to the Star Wars franchise since the buyout, but also kind of speaks to things that have happened in other franchises that we're going to be covering too. And it was a saying from Kylo Ren in the first sequel movie, in Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
His little mantra, "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." And I do believe that unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, I don't know if they meant it or not, it kind of showed what they are trying to do, or their mission statement, if you will, for their intellectual property in general.
I would argue that this has even moved beyond Disney. This just seems to be an issue among...
it might be the overall media environment.
Yeah, this just seems to be...
And they don't want to hang on to legacy, so they get rid of all of that so they can focus on their current thing, what they're on.
Yeah, and honestly, there's also, I think, a lot of the old saying, those who do not history are doomed to repeat it. But if you remove history, you can repeat it ad nauseum, lazily, and if people don't know the history, then... Because there's a lot of this like, Star Wars, because people talk about how... I haven't seen the sequel movies outside of the extremely poorly choreographed fight scenes. But people have talked about how Rey's journey almost embarrassingly, I don't want to say plagiarizes, but very heavily plagiarizes Luke's.
A lot of it.
And it's like, well, if we just bury the past, we can just keep giving people the same stories over and over again without...
It's like if they push it aside, you can't make the comparison.
Yeah.
It's like, if forget that ever happened, focus on this new hotness.
Right.
And also, from a purely market standpoint, it's like, we're pushing all these new action figures of the new characters.
Well, I had spoken with my friend about this, with Marvel, if I can get to talk about the MCU. And
sure.
I know shitting on Phase 4 MCU is old hat, and I don't want to do the eye-rolling fucking MCU, because, like, that's a non-argument. That's...
Especially since that's beginning to be not true anymore anyway.
It's like saying Mary Sue. It doesn't mean anything because there's no real context. We can't all define a lot. But you look at the modern MCU. So we lost Captain America. So what do? And I hate this because we take Sam Wilson and he's Captain America now. Look, we have a new Captain. Okay, but
no, you lost the Falcon.
That's how I feel. Like, he had his own identity, his own style, his own look, his own vibe, and of course, in order for a black man to be taken seriously, he has to take a white man's identity. Like,
yeah. Wear his suit, act like him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you've got Riri Williams, who feels like she's just there to replace Tony Stark. You have the new, I can't remember her name, the one who replaced Natasha, the Black Widow.
Oh yeah, they have a name.
The actress is Florence Pugh.
I was like, I forget her name. I don't think they gave her an actual code name either. So.
She's literally the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like, So like all of these current Marvel heroes, Cassie Lang, is she officially Stature in the movie? I haven't seen Quantumania.
Neither have I. But I think she kind of is.
But I mean that's her. That was her code name in the comics was Stature.
Yeah, I don't know if they officially did that.
But like now it feels like Cassie Lang is just there to replace Scott Lang, and it's like, hey everybody, a brand new Avengers team that's made up of clones of the original.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so, and it, like you said, it feels like they're just saying, hey, forget about Tony Stark. We have Riri Williams now. Forget about, Steve Rogers. We have, Sam Wilson now.
This was never a thing. Forget it.
Yeah, and it's like, can these characters be their own? No, they have to be, they have to be, and Sam Wilson's the worst one because they literally removed his identity to make him a clone of the established Captain America.
The Ironheart show is embarrassingly bad. Especially when they get into the rants where Riri has the gall of saying that she's better than Tony because Tony had all the couldn't have done all this without his millions, and he built his prototype suit with scraps in a cave underwatched guard.
Yep.
That's the one thing that people don't even fail to mention is they had eyes on him, and like some magician he still did it.
That's because the iconic line, Tony built this in a cave. Oh, scraps!
Yeah.
And also pretend like she didn't have Wakandan technology behind her as well.
And that, and being under a scholarship in MIT under Tony Stark's own program that he started in MIT.
And that's kind of the point is, why does Riri have to be better than Tony Stark? Why does she have to be worse than Tony Stark? Why can't she just have her own path? I saw a preview, and like her suits just look like Tony Stark's suits.
Yeah.
I saw a preview where she had a suit that looked almost like the loader from Aliens, where it's kind of like this big, almost like she was in like a cage and had like arms and I'm like, that looked really fucking cool, and it didn't look like a Tony Stark suit. And like that has like an identity to it, but no, instead it's got to be, hey, this character is just Tony Stark, but better. But
well, she clearly is better. That's why she had to make a deal with Mephisto. Sorry. Spoilers for season 1.
But that's this is like, that's all. I said this because it's a discussion with my friend that I think that the problem with the new Avengers feels like it's just this desperate attempt to be like, hey, it's like the old Avengers, but hotter, younger, and sexier. And I'm like, but I don't want the old Avengers. The old Avengers had their story. Let's have new stories with new characters and new identities. I don't need another Black Widow. I don't need another Captain America. I let these characters be themselves, and even if they have a slight name change, we don't really, like I said, Sam Wilson's the worst one to me.
But Star Wars.
Yeah.
Rey, pretty much, kind of Luke's story, but they strapped rocket boots on her, getting rid of practically any struggle that Luke had, and just like, oh, she just gets it. I was like, if there is hardship, it's just very, very little. And people complain, like you said, they misuse Mary Sue. Mm-hmm. But Rey is the kind of character I despise, that a lot of people would call a Mary Sue, where the universe bends to them, not the other way around. Everything's easy for her. She got it. With really no character growth.
See that
challenge.
Yeah, see, I like that because that's so much more useful than just saying she's a Mary Sue. Like, because like I said, I just from hearing stories about it, she was a scavenger on a planet, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, a good writer would have taken the fact that she's a scavenger and used that as her way, like, what her specialty isn't just she's good at the Force, or she just her thing should be she should have this because of her resourcefulness, her ability to very quickly adapt under pressure.
Yeah,
like,
stuff like that.
I think we're gonna do a script doctor episode after this one, right?
Yeah, that'll be a future week where we'll touch back on this on certain scenes. And
yeah, because I want to do like a couple script doctors on some of this stuff because I wrote and so we'll just put this out as a teaser, a way of having her fight Kylo that isn't just she beat Kylo in a fight.
Which is like, completely ridiculous in multiple ways.
Yeah.
But, and later in this video I'll be talking about, like, Doctor Who, because that's part of the whole thing. And I have some script stuff for Doctor Who. I have a scene from the sequel series of Star Wars that I wanted to fix as well. But yeah, and to make the new characters look better, they sacrifice the old characters either by humiliating them to no end so that they don't care about them anymore, or straight out killing them. They had first in The Force Awakens they had Han Solo, and he was there, just long enough to the end of the movie where he's like, we have to show how bad Kylo Ren actually is by having him meet up with his father again, betray and kill him in front of, and it's like, and it's the sort of things like, I'm trying to turn you back and give your old man a hug because the wife told me I should. and he died for it, huh, Han? Because you went for the hug, and Kylo, like, while hugging, lightsabered you. Because I got to show how evil you are, and also have to throw the old character away.
Actually, the thing I actually want to defend one scene in one of the Star Wars movies.
Sure.
And I saw a scene that people pick at, but I want to defend it. So there's a scene where the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon's busted or something, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And what the hell's his name? You just said it, Han. Han's talking about how he didn't, and she like does something and gets it working again. And people are like, what? And I'm like, but here's what I think, and maybe it wasn't properly explained in the movie, but I think it works because as a scavenger, she's probably very used to bypassing and jury rigging machinery. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense that somebody who is because Chewie's the engineer for the Millennium Falcon. People forget that Chewie's an actual engineer. Like that's his thing. But somebody who's classically trained as an engineer might overlook something that is more like used to jury rigging and be like, oh wait, I can actually bypass this part here and get it to work, at least for now, so we can a traditionally trained engineer might overlook.
Yeah, an engineer and a junker have two different methodologies.
Yeah, they're going to have two different methodologies of fixing
that one's not one I bother about.
No, but it's something a lot of people bring up that I just want to defend because I don't want to just shit on the new Star Wars movies 24/7. Because once again, that hat's so old that the Brontosaurus threw it away for being too old.
But they couldn't even keep their new ideas.
Oh, I know.
It's like they had a handful of new characters, but when they started failing one by one, they started just sacrificing them. They got rid of Rose Tico when she wasn't popular enough. Mm-hmm. Poe Dameron, I think they pretty much wrote in specifically to doggone men, but I'm not really sure about that.
I do know that, and it's not an excuse because bad writing's bad writing. Mm-hmm. But I knew famously that J.J. Abrams and the one who directed the middle movie,
right,
famously had a lot of spats because they wanted the series to go in two different ways. So the first movie was made, and then the director took over the second movie and took these plot threads he didn't like and twisted them. And then they had to get twisted kind of back, and it created that kind of very mess of a narrative.
That probably explained why some of these characters were destroyed, basically, because Rian Johnson's
the other one, yeah.
But I think most tragically out of the new characters was what they did was with Finn.
Uh-huh.
I was actually really
Finn's
interested.
a stormtrooper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was really interested in Finn because the idea of a turncoat stormtrooper trying to discover his humanity even though he was a clone, trying to wait, this is wrong, and it's like basically discovering himself and all of that was really interesting to me. And they did something really fun where Rey was learning to be a Jedi, but they gave Finn the lightsaber. And his military training allowed him to just not probably be as good as a Jedi, but still be pretty darn proficient with the thing just because he was good at general combat. I thought that was kind of interesting. It was like they had to dog on the man / hotshot pilot. They really hated Poe Dameron, especially in the second movie.
Yeah, I remember the infamous scene where he said, and then the general lady, the purple-haired general lady,
Admiral
Holdo, basically was like, "You don't need," and then it's like, no, time out. A good general makes sure their soldiers understand why the orders that are given are being given, because that way that prevents mutiny. It's like, look, I have this plan. This is what I think we should do. I understand. Here's why your plan won't work and why this plan might seem flawed, but okay. And the other thing is, if he understands every piece of the plan, he's less likely to get his part is less likely to get in the way of this part and this part and this part if the general, who the whole point of a commander is to coordinate troops, is actually coordinating the troops.
Of course he was going to rush off, do something reckless, and because he was getting desperate, no one was telling him the damn plan. It wasn't because he was a hotshot idiot. It was because they were desperate, and no one was telling him that they even had a plan. And Holdo as a character wasn't needed at all, but they decided to kill off Akbar. In an unceremonious, stupid scene, I might add. Did
he die in a trap? Did the trap get him?
No. The bridge of the ship blows up. He just happened to be on it. But who did survive was Leia because of miraculous force powers that... it's like, okay, we knew she was starting to... learn from her brother and stuff like that, and she was
since force powers are genetic, it would make sense that even if she's not as strong as Luke, she would have some probably force adept.
But one thing that was never shown by any Jedi before or since was making some sort of space-proof force bubble around herself to super Leia her way back onto the ship.
Yeah, it might be weird, but honestly, I stand by the Force has never been defined that well, so...
It was less, I don't think they can do that, and more...
It just felt like an ass pull.
And it felt like she shouldn't be at that level to be able to do that thing that I've never seen anybody else do, or even mention.
Yeah, had they actually, the best way would have done that had they had before shown her in a battle and throw up a force field to deflect the laser blast,
or some kind of foreshadowing that she's got something,
But like throwing up a force field to deflect like a laser blast or an explosion or a piece of shrapnel would at least have foreshadowed that she's developing a force field.
Instead,
a force field.
Instead, having that scene to show that off seemed incredibly unnecessary. When you could not do that, keep Akbar, forget Holdo, have the scene work so much better between Akbar and Poe, going like, I suspect there's a spy. I suspect we have a spy. I can't tell people the plan. But we do have a plan. But I do have a plan. All I need you to do is do what I say and don't do anything stupid.
Or even if they suspected Poe was the spy, show instead of just shut up and follow orders, feeding him some false information to see if the first order acted on this false information. Because that's generally how you weed out.
Well, they didn't think Poe was a spy. They just thought that they had a spy. But still.
Well, even then, if you could establish, like, look, it's not that we don't trust Poe, it's he runs his mouth, he's a hot shot, he's a braggart, or even just say, like, look, there's a plan, but look,
you've keep a cool head.
You've run your mouth before, so we don't need you accidentally letting something slip. And you could even use that as development, be like, I'm trustworthy. It's like, you've let slip before. We have to make sure that what we have, there's a plan, this is your part in the plan. But the way that one scene was written was just really fucking stupid.
It felt like it was written just to be insulting, honestly.
I've said this, I think a lot of the stuff that people rag on, a lot of modern movies, isn't necessarily some form of activism as much as it is a modern version of hello fellow young people. I've seen people say this on Twitter. If we repeat it, then the people on Twitter will like what we have to say. And because, like, so much of it is just so hollow. It's not, they don't actually mean, Disney does not give a fuck about anybody except for what money's rolling in. They're just repeating what they've heard on Twitter because, hello fellow young people.
And at times I wonder if they even care about money. But anyway.
I think they do. I mean, they're a billion-dollar corporation. They care about money. They're just stupid.
I guess. But I think I could go on about other things in the Star Wars universe that feels like they are erasing. Yeah, okay, I am going to talk about what happened in The Acolyte.
Okay.
Because
I didn't even know there was a show called The Acolyte, so this is all on you.
The Acolyte was the latest Disney Plus series, and it is immensely hated by the entire Star Wars fandom. And it's understandable why, because it decided to take everything we know about the Force and the Jedi and the Sith and let that die. It turns out, according to The Acolyte, which is prequel, it's way back. It's like, But it reveals that apparently the Jedi/Sith were not the ones that discovered the Force. They were the ones that took it, twisted it to their own way of doing things, and basically appropriated it. Apparently the ones that discovered the Force and learned how to actually use it were a coven of lesbian space witches. I'm only slightly exaggerating. That's basically what they were. And it's like, oh, way to take like 40, 50 years worth of sci-fi lore and completely throw it away, guys. Everything you know is wrong. Don't watch the old stuff. It's completely canon. And, you're an idiot for caring anything about this new stuff now. It's like, yeah, that's the problem I have with The Acolyte. You could go into all the politics and all the feminism and all the other like woke nonsense. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about the politics. I care about how completely insulting it is to take everything before and saying none of that was right. None of that... Not a bit of it was. You're stupid for thinking that.
I didn't even know this show existed, so
Yeah.
I have nothing to add here. I don't even have secondhand knowledge of it.
It's
but
like,
yeah.
it feels wrong.
Right, and there are right ways to write, like, oh, the history you thought you knew wasn't, but to like completely throw it away. I mean, the right way to do it would be make it so the Jedi and the Sith discover the Force, but you could twist it to where the Jedi aren't pure good and the Sith aren't pure evil. Something along the lines of...
Well, a lot of people are starting to think that anyway.
Well, like, you can honestly kind of write it where it's more... the Jedi are law and the Sith is chaos. The Jedi are about controlling and the Sith are... and
discipline and passion, which is basically the two sides that they were painting for the Jedi and Sith anyway.
Which, like I said, so there's a right and wrong way of doing it, because the first trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, very, very much are just the Jedi are good guys, the Sith are bad guys, because it is
simple.
It is just a samurai movie in space.
Yeah,
like that's what it is, and excuse me, that's okay. But as it grew, the lore naturally had to grow with it. But like you said, the lore growing doesn't mean to completely throw the old away and replace it with the new, sexy version. And oddly enough, so I want to talk about, before you go into Doctor Who,
sure.
I'll go into mine, then you can finish it up with your Doctor Who.
That sounds good.
Because it's a series that we are 2 seasons currently into, and they have already done the let the past die thing we were talking about. And that is the Disney cartoon, Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And the first season is so fucking good. It is, and it's very political, but in a right way, where it is actually trying to bring up, like, actual points.
Yeah,
like,
they're bringing up social
They're bringing up actual social injustices, how
there's that, and then there's pandering, and you're
right. Okay, and one of the other things is that Lunella, is not a Mary Sue, because she has very real character flaws that actually cause her problems. Like one episode, constantly the thing it takes her down is her own ego. So there's an episode where they develop a chess-playing robot. So she challenges the chess-playing robot. And even though the chess-playing robot is like, wow, you're so smart. Hey, let's you and I get together, and we could do some real good, like maybe create perpetual motion, or, some form of... And she's like, no, whatever. Yeah, fine. But I'm going to finish this game of chess first. And his battery's starting to drain. It's like, I need charged. And so they plug him in. It's like, I have to shut down while I'm plugged in or I'll overheat. And she's like, okay, but we have to finish this game of chess first. I have to beat you. Which causes it to short circuit and turn evil. And so this entire, entire villain, 100% created by her ego. And like I said, like the first episode, they talk about how, there's a super villain in town, but, we're kind of in a poorer neighborhood, so, like, we just kind of get overlooked by a lot of the big heroes, which is why she steps up and becomes a superhero. And I do think that's true. Like, I think a lot of times poorer sections of the country get overlooked because they're poor. Nobody cares about poor people. They like to talk about poor people, but they don't actually give a shit about helping. And so, like, it's very intelligent in the way it handles these issues. And then season 2 comes around, and it's another fucking Marvel show. Lunella joins fucking S.H.I.E.L.D. Every time her ego gets in check, she knows everything. She's never wrong about anything. They find a Kree relic in a museum that is basically, like, becoming unstable. And she's like, I know this, I'm gonna go stop it. And it's painted entirely as the guy who's in the museum studying the relic is in the wrong and she's in the right. And I'm like, you took an actual intelligent show and you just turned it into another fucking Marvel Plus TV show. The hero's always right. She's got her gang of silly fucking... Because before she had, like, a silly sidekick. Not Devil Dinosaur. I cannot remember her name. but her social media manager, who's very much been pushed aside for this other group of geniuses that are part of Moon Girl's team of minions, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just another fucking Marvel Plus TV show. I'm like, this has gotten boring because she no longer has character development. She's no longer fighting street level villains. She's no longer dealing with actual social issues. It's just another fucking Marvel show, and it's so much worse than season 1. Like,
sounds like they're not letting her ever be wrong again.
Yep. Because like I said, in multiple cases, there's one episode she developed an app that fast forwarded time. It was this movie click. Fast forwarded time because she was bored with the boring stuff in life and just wanted to get to the fun stuff. But the app basically the algorithm started to decide for her what was boring and what wasn't, and she was skipping the part she wanted. The movie click. It was the movie click.
It was click.
And it's fine. The movie click's a perfectly serviceable plot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she had to realize that, the boring parts make the fun parts more enjoyable. And you know what? The boring parts, waiting in line to see a movie, that's just part of life. You have to learn patience and yeah, no, that shit's gone. Season 2, that shit's all gone. It's just fucking her being part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and yeah. So yeah, that's my rant about within 1 fucking year, they already have tried to destroy the past of an absolutely spectacular TV show.
Fair enough. Doctor Who, I'm going to have to do a slight bit of history to be able to cover this. But, and of course, Doctor Who started in the 60s. It was a long run sci-fi series. Honestly, it's come back from the dead so many times because of all the little tricks they developed. Like, regeneration itself was because William Hartnell could not...
Yeah, he was just aging out of the role. He just was no longer...
And they didn't want to cancel the series, so they came up with the idea of regeneration, so it became a whole new person who couldn't play the part. But early 2000s, under the direction of Russell T Davies, Doctor Who came back again with the new series.
That would be Eccleston's where
Yes.
he started? Okay.
Yeah. Christopher Eccleston played the 9th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 1 season. And, or series if you're British. But, Russell T Davies, he had his own way of wanting to do things, but he was slowly reintroducing everything. Immediately, he let the past die for his own narrative means, because Eccleston was introduced in the series, having survived the Time War that supposedly wiped out all of the all of the other Time Lords and the Daleks. And so we didn't have to worry about the Time Lords and all of their rules and everything that had come up previously in the series before. Because, okay, so they're gone. And halfway through that season, they reintroduced, there's one lone Dalek. It's like, okay, so how'd you survive the Time Lords? So that introduced Daleks to the audience again.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the first season, the Daleks came back in full, and
sounds like we have a sick kitty cat.
Yeah, I think it's Bat. Anyway, but by that time they already knew that Russell T Davies and Christopher Eccleston were not going to be continuing on. But the end of that episode was like, all the Daleks survived the Time War, but Rose looked into the heart of the TARDIS, and with pure time energy wiped those Daleks from existence. And it's like, now they're gone. And it's like, before, RTJ was going to RTD, sorry. he was going to stick around, but the BBC did not like some of the ideas he had, and so he marched off like a spoiled kid at the end of that one season. He originally wanted Rose to replace the Doctor. To become like the new Doctor. And the BBC understandably said no.
Like, how would that work?
I don't know. But I think the whole Eye of the Tortoise thing that she did, Bad Wolf thing, was kind of a hint of where he was going for. But not really. So, anyway, so there was that. So we got...
Excuse me.
So we got out of that first season with Russell T Davies getting rid of the Time Lords, getting rid of the Daleks as far as we know, because there was no other way out to reintroduce them that we knew of. And so, fast forward to after the end of the 12th Doctor's run. We had Jodie Whittaker being the first female Doctor, number 13. Chibnall made a lot of interesting and controversial ideas. It led to the end of his run with The Timeless Child. Timeless Child took 60 years of Doctor Who continuity and told you were all wrong about that. Everything is completely different. The Doctor isn't even a Time Lord.
Yeah, that's the dumbest. That is the dumb. And because me and Josh talked about this. The next one of these we do with the script doctoring. I have rewritten that whole thing in a part that actually isn't insulting to the Doctor Who fandom.
It's like, oh, the Gallifreyans learned how to regenerate from essentially experimenting and torturing on this, what I could only best call some little girl time goddess thing, entity, who is actually the Doctor.
It's honestly, that's the big problem I have is why does the Doctor have to be the Timeless Child?
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't make any sense.
necessarily have a problem with the idea that Gallifrey learned how to do the time stuff by shitty means because...
Honestly, historically, the Time Lords have been assholes.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean,
it's not...
that I don't have a problem with. It's a lot of the other stuff.
But why does it have to be the Doctor?
Yeah.
Why can't... Because the Doctor was a rogue Gallifreyan.
Yes.
He was a rogue Time Lord.
Yeah, he ran.
So why couldn't we have had it, like, that be part of why he left Gallifrey?
Like, he discovered at least part of the truth.
Yeah, maybe not discovered everything, but discovered enough to realize that his people were not the shining beacon of... And I would even say the old series kind of played on that a little bit, because I think it was the 6th Doctor with the Kangaroo Court episode. That was very clearly just a Kangaroo Court trial for the Doctor.
Right.
So I think there were, whether intentional or not, seeds planted that Gallifrey were honestly maybe even on par with as bad as the Daleks in a different way. But yeah, the idea that the Doctor themselves was the Time Lord was silly.
But the Timeless Child was upset the fan base of Doctor Who so much that to try to get ratings back, the BBC did two things to try to get to try to get popularity back. And it's like, okay, we got in contact with Russell T Davies. He's going to take back over as showrunner. and the 14th Doctor after Jodie Whittaker. Let's get David Tennant again. Let's have him be the Doctor twice. As the 10th and 14th. Same guy. Is it stupid? Yes! Yes, it is.
It's not just stupid, it's lazy. It's just lazy.
And very, very
Well,
clearly, we want please come back, people.
Have you seen the new Fantastic Four movie?
Not really.
Okay. But isn't Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom in that?
You don't see his face, but yeah, he is playing Doctor Doom.
Which, once again, like pulling David Tennant in as the 14th Doctor.
I can
That just sounds like them being like, oh, look, y'all love Tony Stark so much.
Yes, I do know in the comics, at least one continuity, there was a twisted version of Tony Stark that was a version of Doctor Doom. But still.
Okay. And people like, well, it was in the comics. I'm going to explain this to everyone. Not everything in the comics was good. There's a lot of really shitty comics out there with a lot of really stupid ideas.
That being said, make a Detective Chimp movie.
Well, they're too cowardly to do that.
I know. Anyway.
Like, if you want to talk about comic accurate, you want to talk about the Avengers 200? The one with Carol Danvers and the space god Marcus?
Yeah.
You want to fucking talk about comic accuracy?
Pregnant with herself.
Yeah, look that comic up and tell me you want everything to be comic accurate. That was stupid.
But anyway, okay.
Oh, sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't tell you about that, so I guess you went on a brain broke rant.
Yeah,
there.
I did. Cause
I didn't tell you about him Tennant playing 10 and 14.
That's stupid. That is so stupid.
But and that was for the 60th anniversary specials. Tennant was the Doctor for those. But those specials also began a storyline I actually like, but they kind of rushed through it pretty quick, and at the same time, a lot of that let the past die stuff was happening. But it was a storyline involving a pantheon of old gods. It's like ancient beings that just are incredibly powerful. And it brought some old characters back to be part of the pantheon and introduced some new ones. I did enjoy Lux Imperator, God of Light.
Okay.
Who had been trapped for who knows how long. Wound up basically being able to reincarnate himself in the 1930s as a rubber hose and living cartoon.
Oh, nice.
Because the God of Light, he was able to projector himself into. And the Doctor I have no problem with this one. The Doctor beat him in the episode he was introduced by basically giving him what he wanted. But not in the same way. He wound up being... He wanted the light of the atom. And I thought that was the ultimate light to absorb to become more powerful. The Doctor gave him the light of the atom by giving him access to the sun.
That was not where I thought that was going to go.
By pure sunlight, just absorbing that non-stop ad infinitum, forever, he became one with all light. So he's not gone, he's everywhere.
See, when you said power of the atom, I thought for sure we were going to see some Hiroshima shit.
No.
So I actually liked, because I was like, God, no, this is going to be a nuclear bomb. But no, I like that.
I have no problem with what they did with Lux in that episode. That was pretty good. I like that one. The Maestro, I'm not so sure about, but the Maestro, God of Music. I forget exactly what it was supposed to be trying to do. I do remember that they were not destroyed, but sealed in a Beatles song. It's like, so okay, all right. They brought the Celestial Toymaker back. The Celestial Toymaker was a villain, a Q-like villain, from William Hartnell's time. The first Doctor was the last time that we had seen the Celestial Toymaker.
Okay.
A God of Games. the Toymaker God of Games. And this time they brought him back, played by Neil Patrick Harris. And
Yeah, I figured they wouldn't have the original actor play.
no. I will say Neil Patrick Harris looked strikingly like the first guy.
Well, there you go.
He did wonderful performance, great episode. He actually wasn't destroyed either. He was sealed in a puzzle box that is now being kept on the TARDIS for safekeeping. Don't want it opened again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've seen an entire series of movies about why you don't want to open mysterious puzzle boxes.
yes. But that ended Tennant's second run also, was the clash with the Toymaker.
Mm-hmm.
Is in that episode, during the final game, the Doctor's hit by a laser,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
he has to regenerate. But some freak occurrence happens, and for the first time ever, they introduce bi-regeneration.
Uh-huh.
Where he regenerated, but he split in two.
Okay.
So basically we kept Tenet, but also we had the 15th Shudigawa. And then they went their own separate ways.
Mm-hmm. That way they can pull Tenet back whenever ratings start to drop.
If they really need to, yes.
That's what it's there for, so if the ratings start to drop, they can pull Tenet back as a cheap ploy.
I would imagine.
See, once again, and honestly, at the heart of it all, I think what it is, like the ultimate thesis is laziness.
Yeah.
It's just laziness. Nobody wants to, they don't want to incorporate new story. Writing character arcs can be hard because writing a character, you have to have a flawed character to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're too flawed, you alienate the audience.
Yeah.
So instead what you do is you create these kind of Bella Swan, self-insert, pseudo-perfect characters that might have one tiny little flaw, but
One of the most dumb ones is, my flaw is I'm too loved.
yeah, another one they'll be just flaws that aren't real. I'm so clumsy, but I'm clumsy in that kind of adorkable way. I'm not like clumsy to the point where I fall on, cut my arm open because I fell on a bunch of glass.
I'm not a liability to myself or others. I'm
Bella
cute clumsy.
Even though Bella Swan kind of was a liability to herself, because first time she meets Edward, she stumbles into traffic. But anyway, but the point I'm making here is, so if you get these just tiny little, you can say that the character has a flaw, and if they're a cheap, easy fix flaw, oh look. But trying to have a character overcome an actual flaw in a way the audience roots for that character is an extremely difficult thing. It requires such a deft hand to do. Like Luke Skywalker, he's kind of whiny. He's basically a big old man-child.
He grows out of it.
And that's exactly it. He grows into a hero. Han Solo is self-centered. He's mercenary. He's greedy. He leaves the rebellion, but he does eventually have the change of heart and comes back. Tony Stark in the first Iron Man movie is self-centered. He only cares about vices. His entire empire is just built to fuel alcohol and girls. However, coming face to face with the consequences of his actions, watching the man who helped him escape die, and learning that the man who helped him live, Tony Stark was effectively responsible for that man's family's death, coming face to face that there's more to this world than money, than alcohol, than women, than vices. He has to overcome that, and that's what leads him to break away from Obadiah Stane, who wants to continue being an ironmonger. And he still is flawed at the end of the movie, because, I am Iron Man. He still has that ego, but he is growing into a hero in the first Iron Man. I forget the rest, because the movies forget this arc
Right.
over and over again. I'm talking about the first Iron Man movie itself.
Right.
but he grows into this character. There's so many examples of flawed and stories that, not all of them, not universally, but a lot of these stories that we consider timeless are about characters who are flawed and who are either overcome their flaws, like Luke Skywalker, or who are destroyed by their flaws, like the creature in Victor Frankenstein. But either way, what we have at their heart are stories of flawed people and how their flaws affect them. So I've said every hero has two struggles, an internal struggle and an external struggle. Luke Skywalker fights the Empire, but he also has to fight his own immaturity. And that's the problem with Rey, is she doesn't have that same... She has an external struggle. She has to fight the First Order.
Right.
But she doesn't have that internal struggle that makes the vast majority of audiences connect to them on anything more than a superficial level. And that's what it is. It's a lot of superficiality. Oh, you have to like them because they belong to X group, women or people, but...
Yeah,
But you can look at universally beloved characters like Ellen Ripley from Aliens, she's a company woman. She is kind of in the first movie, she's kind of a fucking bootlicker. She is very much like a corporate, she acts like a dick-ass manager. She's a flawed character, and we love her because she's a flawed character, and we see not only how the xenomorph is affecting the crew, but how her own kind of by-the-books mentality is affecting the crew. So, like I said...
That's kind of a shield piercer. They put those things up as a shield, and Ripley goes like, no, we actually like this character, so we're not anti-women.
Yeah, but like I said, I want to get this too into that, because there's
that's
so much... A lot of that shit you see is very, very shallow. People just want to be very shallow about it. But I said, I think ultimately at its heart, truly great characters have an external and an internal struggle. And I think a lot of modern media, especially the ones that people generally criticize, I think they rely very much on buzzwords. It's too woke. That's not an argument. They're Mary Sue's. That doesn't mean anything. That's not meaningful to the conversation. However, saying this character never struggled to accomplish their goals, which is when generally people say is a Mary Sue, is what they're saying.
Yes.
Is that the character never but Mary Sue has no definition, so it's not a meaningful phrase, and honestly, a lot of times it's lobbed at characters that people just don't like.
Right.
And it's the same, it's gotten too woke. What the fuck does that even mean, gotten too woke? Is it too woke because you're a bigot and you don't like a black character? Or is it too woke because you think that it's not properly reflecting the struggles of a person of color? You're not saying anything meaningful. I don't like Sam Wilson as Captain America because you had to give up his identity as a person of color so he could adopt a white man's identity.
Yeah.
That feels regressive to me as a writing tool. I wouldn't even mind him having the shield because that shows this kind of progression of his legacy.
Have the shield.
But he can still be the fucking Falcon.
Right.
That's who Sam Wilson was. He doesn't need a white man to validate him. But apparently he does. So, but yes, external struggle, internal struggle, and stop being so fucking lazy with your character arcs.
Okay. Continuing on with Russell T Davies' second run.
Oh, okay.
Because we had a big whole tangent.
Oh, okay. I thought we were... Okay, go ahead.
Well, we weren't done.
Oh.
It was so he picked it up from the specials, and all of Shudigawa's run as the Doctor is under Russell T Davies. But, Shudigawa was fine. I'm gonna say that all of these people, Jodie Whittaker, Shudigawa, all of the Doctors before, they're good. They're good at the role. They pick good people to be the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
A case of Jodie Whittaker and Shudigawa, they're a victim of bad writers. The good doctors with bad writers.
Yeah.
And so we start seeing the let the past die thing with the rest of the Pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
That carries on through Shudi's 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they brought back Sutekh the Destroyer from Tom Baker's 4th Doctor run, who was an Osiran, who was basically the truth behind Egypt was they were aliens and all this other stuff.
The ancient aliens thing.
And Sutekh the Destroyer, god of death. It's like, okay, they reintroduced him, granted in a 2-parter, so I guess you could say 2 episodes instead of 1. But they reintroduced Sutekh the Destroyer, and they settle him by basically throwing him into the time stream. Essentially, presumably, this would kill him.
That just seems lazy.
Yes, I know. This is going to be a trend.
Because, like, they beat the light god by introducing him to, like, the source of light in the sun.
Which was clever.
And they beat the game god by
beating him in a game.
Beating him in a game and trapping him in a puzzle box?
Yeah.
The god of death. How do you beat death? I don't know, just fucking timey-wimey, whatever. Who fucking cares?
I killed death. Yeah.
I mean,
anyway,
there are creative ways you could have handled that by, like, having him...
And it kind of parallels how Sutekh was defeated before. But instead of tossing him against, like, the walls of the time vortex, he was, like, lost in the time vortex back in Tom Baker's era. It's like, that's different. But...
And
also in a more
that's,
lazy way.
Also, that still seemed kind of lame. But once again, as I've stated, just because it's something that happened in the past doesn't mean it is okay to let some things in the past die.
Some things.
Tom Baker might have been great, but his writing wasn't perfect. There were slip-ups.
No. It's like, to be fair, it's like, yeah, that is a parallel, but that's not necessary.
Yeah.
You could have defeated Sutekh in a different way. And could have even still let it open for him to return. You didn't have to be so definitive. But I think the most egregious thing was how they handled Omega. Now, Omega, in the Doctor Who lore, he had appeared like only 2 times previously. He was the Gallifreyan. He was a Time Lord that actually invented time travel.
Okay.
He was the very smart mastermind genius who came up with how you could manipulate time, and how Gallifreyans became Time Lords. The process of his experiments trapped him in like an antimatter universe, and so he was venerated as a hero, but they never got him out. And so it's sort of a revenge mad genius thing whenever you encountered him. Because, to quote him from his first appearance, a hero, I should have been a god. Yeah. He's saying in a very bitter way of how they treat him. And so you've got a genius kind of character who, that sort of masterminding thing, you can write incredibly well. Apparently they think we already had the master, fuck that. Because when they brought Omega back as the mad god of time, he was not this, genius, super intellect, mastermind guy. No, he was like a baby skeleton kaiju monster that eats things.
Okay.
It's like, that's not Omega, what the fuck?
Yeah, but
Had,
writing geniuses is hard. It's hard to write someone smart.
They say write what you know, and
Yeah,
they
I
didn't
know.
know genius. Anyway, yeah, he came back for a total of 5 minutes at most, and they quickly dispatched him. Like, after all this hype up, not only a stupid appearance of basically this baby skeleton monster thing, rawr, but also just gonna do whatever he did to just kick him back into where he came from. And, oh well, went on. And then the most latest thing, okay, a couple more things before I'm finished. During Russell T Davies' entire run, the specials and the two Shooty-Gawas things, of his new run, there was not a single Dalek episode. Not one.
It sounds like Russell T Davies just hates Daleks.
I think he did. I think he saw the end. It's like the other writers had brought the Time Lords back. His run got rid of them again, and no Daleks episode. He didn't bother at all with the Cybermen. He didn't bring him back, and he didn't do. You know. And so, he wanted his ideas and all that stuff. And as it turns out, I guess apparently he got his way in the long run. Because the very last action on his way out and the most recent Doctor Who thing is the 16th Doctor.
Is it Billy Piper?
Is played by Billy Piper. Or Rose Tyler. So ultimately, Rose became the Doctor after all, like he wanted.
So, I've seen some discussion of Doctor Who from more modern fans who are like, talk about how silly the Dalek, how much they think the Daleks are silly and all this stuff, but my thing about that is, the Daleks are such a core part of Doctor Who's lore. Could you imagine having 5 seasons of a Batman TV show and not mentioning the Joker?
Yeah, it'd feel weird.
Or 5 seasons of a Superman TV show and not mentioning Lex Luthor? I think the Joker's kind of a dumb, cringe character too. But if I went 5 seasons of a Batman show without the Joker, I'd be like, the fuck's the Joker?
I understand their argument. A lot of people said they were oversaturated. We were getting too much Dalek.
Yeah, the Doctor Who fandom does love Daleks. They're kind of fun villains, though.
I loved the balance they were doing for a while, where in the course of an entire season you had a total of 1 Dalek episode. That's like 10 to 14 episodes. Only one of them is a Dalek episode.
I think within the Doctor Who lore, Sorrow, is that the name of the Dalek leader?
Davros.
Sorry, Davros. I think Davros should be treated as the ultimate bad guy for Doctor Who. Not for Doctor Who, for the Doctor. Davros should be treated as on the same par that DC should be treating a guy like Darkseid, or Marvel treating someone like Thanos.
Maybe not.
That should be,
Definitely high up there.
Yeah, he should be built up as one of the stories that if Daleks and Davros show up, things have gotten things have gotten real.
They've always written the Master as basically Professor Moriarty.
Yes, the Maverick, or not the Maverick, Jesus Christ. The
Master.
The Master is the Doctor Who's evil half.
Yes.
He is the dark clone of Doctor Who, because all heroes have dark clones of themselves. But I feel like Davros should be treated as like one of the major. So you don't want Daleks all the time.
No.
But if you bring Daleks in for 2 or 3 episodes, it should be like a point where things have gotten to a little more of a serious point, as opposed to stories where he meets Marie Antoinette or those kind of sillier ones.
Yeah.
Which are an important part of the Doctor Who mythos too.
Right.
Like, Doctor Who is at its heart kind of a silly adventure show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the Daleks should be treated like the real one of, maybe not the only, but one of the real threats.
Yeah, the reoccurring themes of every time, if they wrote it decently,
Yeah.
every time Daleks show up is, oh shit. That's what you think. Every time Daleks show up.
I love the alternate timeline Cybermen. You would defeat 10 million Cybermen with 3 Daleks?
We would defeat 10 million Cybermen with 1 Dalek. You are superior in only one aspect. What is that? You are better at dying. I love Daleks, man.
And they were right. Daleks were right.
They were on pace to actually be correct, yes. It did seem like that.
But yeah, Daleks should be treated like a real threat. And I do think that for a while they got oversaturated because, much like the Joker for a while was oversaturated as a character in DC, like, oh man, we want to show a true psychopath, and you ended up with like a Jared Leto style Joker that was just a childish edgelord and not a threatening psychopath like he was in the Dark Knight trilogy, or even like a fun psychopath like he was in Tim Burton's movie. Like, it was just a fucking childish edgelord, and that was stupid.
They tried to do so. They honestly tried to go in too many directions with Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah.
They tried to take every aspect of the Joker and shotgun it.
Yeah. And he ended up being a mess, and that's why
Jack Nicholson's Joker was the mobster.
Yep.
And he was very good at it because they focused on that part.
And Heath Ledger's Joker was the sociopathic murderer, and it was very good because
they focused on that
part. And Cesar Romero's was the Crown Prince of Crime, and it worked because they focused on that element of the Joker.
Yeah. Anyway, that pretty much settles everything I had to say.
Me too. Stop being lazy and write real characters.
Okay, and sometimes don't let the past die.
Because the reason so many of us fans have stuck with these shows for so long is because we love the things that you made before.